to take some cadmium yellow into this lot here, because that was a bluey color anyway. So I'm going to take some cadmium yellow into there, and a little touch more blue. So I've got a, let's test that one. So I've got a nice green color. So now I'm putting the green in, and this will answer your question. You see, green is not always green, believe it or not. May sound funny, but it's true. Green overdone will spoil any painting, and it's a color that gives most artists the biggest problem. So you have to be very careful about putting in these very garish greens. Even if it's in the photograph, you find when you make a painting, it will spoil your painting completely. So let's put some of that in here. And I'm going to warm a little bit more of the foreground, so I'm going to take a little touch of that other burnt sienna mixture that I had, warm it up, side, cool some of this green down, and especially here where I've got this lighter color, I want to darken that piece up a little bit here too, a little piece in here, and then take a bit of that, drop it into this green. There's a few marks in the green. This is wet, so it'll take a little bit of yellow ochre into this piece here. So you get like a browny green in here. I'm adding a bit of warmer color. So there you've got your green. I can actually green that up a little bit more. Let's put a bit more of the yellow color into there, especially this top end here. Let's do that. But not completely. I'm going to leave some lighter colors inside here as well, because you do get all these variations in the color. If you look at the insert as well too, you see you get quite a lot of variation. Okay, I don't want to go any more than that at this particular stage. Let's put the hairdryer on, then we can start on the big main crane. There you go. Right, now we still have some more of this piece of tape. So let's take that off here.
Pegasus is asking, what is aerial perspective?
Okay, aerial perspective. Aerial means in the sky. In other words, the open air. That's why you have an aerial for a radio, which is stuck up into the sky to be able to pick up your radio waves. So aerial perspective is anything that you're looking at through through space. Let's put it that way. In other words, if you're standing here and you're looking through across there, you're looking through space. And as you look through space, what actually happens is that there's contamination, there's pollen in the air, there's dust in the air, there's pollution in the air, there's moisture in the air, there's heat waves in the air, anything that goes along. And what happens, it causes light scatter. In other words, anything that is like an object, the light will come along, boom, and bounce off it. So you have all the different, especially the blue frequency is one that gets bounced a lot more than any of the others. And that's why when you look through the mountain, through the sky towards the mountains, it's your blue waves that get in the middle of the day or in the daytime, they get scattered the most. And that's why you get that blue effect. And like those that are doing the oil painting, remember Nolan tells you, when you want to tone down your mountains for a distance, add more of your sky color into it. In other words, whatever the color is of your sky, you add a bit more into it to lighten it. And as you go further back, you lighten it with more of the sky color, until eventually, as you normally see normally, what happens that the edge of that mountain, end of the mountain, right to the very distance, sort of disappears into the sky itself. Now that is aerial's perspective. In other words, you're looking through space and all the things that is happening to change it. In other words, that's why in your painting, make something darker and warmer in the front, get it lighter and cooler towards the back, and that will give you your sense of depth into it. As you go further away, also you get less detail, because all the light scatter breaks the detail up. It doesn't matter what happens in your photograph, because your photo. I don't want to go into that part. I haven't got time for that now. But when you're painting for photograph, modify it to a painting the way you would normally see with your eye, and not the way that the photograph sees it. So I'm hoping, does that make sense to you? Okay. Right, now let's get going with this one here. We've got another half an hour to go, so we've got half an hour to carry on this one. So yeah, it should be nice and interesting. Okay, so now we need to, let me just clean up some more of this here. So we need to make some more grey. So let me clean this. And to do that, I'll just get a little bit of water in here. I'm going to take my ultramarine blue, but from the pan that gives me my proper color, which has not been contaminated as much as what I have here. These little ones here, you will find most artists when they're painting a lot, all this here, it looks a mess. But yet, when you work it properly and you work through, you can get a lovely clean painting. So it comes from experience. So there, right there, I've got some nice ultramarine blue, and I'm going to touch a little touch of burnt sienna. Let me just test it here. I don't want not too much into here. So let's see what that grey is going to look like. Can you add a bit more? Actually, nice greys. Actually, instead of burnt sienna, you can use actually light red. That's used quite a lot by a lot of artists in their sky to get that lovely sky color. Right, there we've got to start getting a grey. Put a bit more blue into that. Okay, always test on a piece of paper. Okay, now I'm going to pick up a bit of water in there, put it in the darker area first, and if it suits me, right, then I can come along and put a very light grey where the sun is hitting it. So I'm going to put all that light grey into this area, and I can actually go right over the whole beak. keep that into there. So you got your grey. This is going to be all the highlight colors in the beginning. So let's put that grey. Straighten that out there a little bit. Okay. It'll come down. Don't worry about the darks at this stage. First put your initial grey color down, because there's no absolute white in here. It's very light color. If it's a bit too dark, put a bit more, while it's still wet, put a bit more water in it, and then run that down. So here we're putting the basic color of the crane. Let's put a bit more down. Across there. All the light color coming down. And notice when I do any of the stripes, I'm keeping it in the flow of the molding. In other words, those feathers all come down this way. So if I've got any stripes in, it must flow in the direction of all the main lines in your painting. Let's get down here. Okay, so we got that. So right, let's have a look at some areas here where I can drop in a few of the darker areas. Let it work itself in there. We've got some down here, and we got some down in here, just to we don't get too many dark sharp edges while it's still wet. So here it's darker, and then here on the sides so what I'm doing is I'm working from slowly. I'll darken it up as I go along. If you've got the too wet and it runs in, just take a dry brush and just run down the side and lift some of that off. Then just touch it so you have that bit of a rounding. So let's take some more here. We've got some dark in this area. Got a few little marks of the feathers in here. These will blend, and a bit later on we'll come in and give a slightly more detail in inverted commas. Slowly building it up. Rather build it up slowly than put it dark too fast. You got some shadow coming down. So slowly building up the shadow detail. I just want to, with a wet brush, take that little bit of a bump away there. Not too much, because or that could also be part of the feathers lifting up. Okay, we got that. Get rid of this cauliflower. And by doing that, giving stripes in, it'll give you parts of the feathers that come out in this area. So you've got all the feathers. So remember, all the lines will be in direction of where the edges of the feathers are, etc. So let's have a look. I just want to soften that edge. Okay, the hairdryer, and I'm going to work on the head. Peggy Sue, we can do with some of that warmth here as well. Okay, but our warm weather will be coming soon. But it's been quite chilly the last couple of days. Right, let me get a smaller round brush, and this one is a number 4. You can use a 3 or a 4 round brush, and start working in some of the area here. And it will also going to be all right. Let's put the crest in quickly. That makes it look better. Right. Just be careful when you go around the eye. So do that part here first. Around the eye. Then that goes up here, and that goes in here. I'm not trying to make the edges too sharp. Don't get, you've got feathers and stuff here as well too, and it's got those little markings on. It's going to come down into this area here, you can just pass the eye, and a bit into that area here. So there we have that, nice and dark. Right, I'll lift out the highlights a bit later on. So let's work on the eye first. So you've got that eye, it's got a bit of yellow. So I'm going to take a bit of yellow first and fill the eye with yellow. And it's got a little bit of an orangey tinge into it there as well. So let's be careful around the eye, because don't forget this the eye is the one that the viewer is going to pick up very first. They're going to look, your eye always goes to an eye. When you talk to somebody, what do? The first thing you do is you look them straight in the eye, unless they don't want to look at you. Sometimes you get people that can't look you in the eye. Okay, so I'm going to let that piece dry a little bit. Then you've got a bit of this browny grey colour, which is in this little area. Up there. I don't want to get right to the eye yet. That's going to come down in this area here and sort of come down. And then there's a bit of a yellowy, slightly yellowy tinge also just underneath here. I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of a yellow tinge there. And down, but down the part of the beak here. So let's put that little tinge down there. Okay, let's put the hairdryer on the eye so I can finish that. Okay, so there's a touch of orange. And that orange is going to be in this area here. And we'll darken it up a little bit just now. Let's put that in there. And there's a little hint here of red. I'm going to put a little touch of orange in this area. Right, I'm going to take some dark color, which is burnt sienna, a little touch of blue into it. And it's more like a dark brown color as opposed to black. And that's going to come in. Just you're going to be careful in this little area, round, across there. It's not a complete round. Look carefully on that thing. It comes straight down a little bit here. It's almost like a little point there on the outside edge. Point down, and then it's got a bit more of a color in there for the shadow of the eye. That one comes around down here. And then, right, let's finish this first. And there's a bit of a darker little ledge across here. Darker shade there, a bit of a darker shade in here. Bit of a damp brush and just pull some of that into here. We'll tighten up some of the other areas just now. Let's see, now I'm going to make it quite a bit of a black. There's a little bit there for the pupil. I'll put the pupil in here. Right, and while we've got the black, see the beak a little bit more. Thanks. There you go. So I've got the beak. There's a bit of a darker line that goes from here right underneath. Very thin. There, got the one that's running here, which is the actual opening of the beak itself. It runs up. Up into there. You've got another little one that is down there. A darker in here. We've got a lighter one that also runs up here. Very, very carefully on the top, and that will sort of a few little marks in here, and then there's got a funny little tip here, right? Don't do too much there. Then I want you to notice something. I'll get some now, some of the brown color. A little touch of blue into it. I want you to notice in that other one there where you've got the water in the background. The nostril is right over here, but you can see straight through. So if that one there, you can actually see the water. Can you see that little piece? Look there. You see that little piece there. So we've got this darker color at the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that brown in there. Just that little piece there. Just showing up the dark of the brown behind that in there. So now I'm going to sort of almost like a dry brush at this stage. I don't want to go to too much detail in here. Sort of just give a bit of a hint. That one here, a little touch more of the grey. Very lightly into this area. Now we're going to get some more of the just sort of like little hints of some of those little feathers. Not much. Now you start in here now. You've got the shadow of the head coming down and causing a shadow that comes down to here. And up here and then down here. I don't know if it's easily seen on the at the moment, but you've got the granulation in the paper sort of giving almost like a hint of some feathers there. So what I'm doing is, you see what I'm doing is, when I'm putting the shadows here, I'm doing it in, I'm just lightly touching the edges here, and then as I come down here, I'm blending them together. It gives you that effect of these loose hair feather type. Just very, very light, just to give you that hint coming down a little bit. While let that dry, I'll come back and add a bit. I'll darken up at the moment here. I just want to, while that's wet, let's just darken up. That's a shadow area. That shadow area is going to come down into this area, and the darker shadow will run across the top here. You can see there's a bit of that shadow across here. Then down here it gets a bit darker. Right down. I'll take some more of this colour. It's going to be much darker down here. You see, I'm not all in this area here. I'm not going to be painting solid. I'm going to be painting in loose little strokes to give the impression of the feathers. I have to mix some more. Really. Darker areas down here. I'm not trying to be exact. All I'm doing is giving the impression. All those little feathers. Just the impression of those feathers. Also take your brush a little bit on the flat side as well too. Just touch them. Just makes it a bit more grey. A bit touch of glue into here. Check it. Okay. And also in here too, there's also got that little touch of the warm colours. So here we got the edge of the wing. We've got a fairly light across there, and you've got the shadow coming down the side, so we can lift that wing out. See what I'm doing is I'm putting all the little impressions of all these little feathers. I'm coming down, I'm making it a bit darker, you're going deeper into the shadow. More and here you got some more of the feathers, a bit longer down here. You start getting into the wing feathers, and they don't forget they come over the top and round, over the top, round, over the top, down to give you the molding of the top. So you need to get that effect down in here. We'll get some more, and that's all coming down. You got the top of the wing, the shoulder. That's coming down. What I want to do is, while it's there, lift that out a bit there, because I need to get that shoulder effect of the wing. Then that will come down here. There we go. Very quickly. Nice long strokes down. Don't forget, don't lose this edge of the wing. I'm going to take a little touch of this burnt sienna, but very light. Very light. Take most of it off, and then you've got this burnt sienna colouring in the feathers. Just that little bit of a warm colour. Got some down in here. Across here. Little touch in here. I see we just going to be making it today. Now I'm going to give some of these little impressions. Just little impressions of these little feathers. Got some more of them in here. This across here. I'm just going to darken up this edge a bit. You get that nice deeper shadow. Some back up to the head.